In the world of coin collecting, there are always a few pieces that rise above the rest, not just because of their age or design, but because of the stories they carry. One such coin is the elusive and extraordinary 1984 Canadian 5-cent piece. While at first glance it might appear as an ordinary nickel, its history and rarity have turned it into one of the most desirable coins for collectors around the globe. This particular 5-cent coin was struck in a year without any significant changes to Canada's nickel production, which makes its rarity all the more surprising. In 1984, the Royal Canadian Mint produced millions of nickels as usual, featuring the familiar beaver design on the reverse and the image of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. However, deep within this year's mintage lies an anomaly so rare, its very existence was unknown to the public for decades. What sets this coin apart isn't a grand design error visible to the naked eye. Instead, it's an almost imperceptible die variation that occurred during a very brief window of production. A specific set of dies produced a small batch of nickels with a subtle flaw in the beaver's front paw and a distinctive doubling on the date. These features make it instantly recognizable to expert numismatists, and nearly impossible for the average person to detect. For years, this elusive coin remained hidden in circulation, quietly passed from hand to hand. It wasn't until an avid collector stumbled upon one at a local market in the early 2000s that its significance came to light. Word spread quickly through numismatic circles, igniting a hunt for other surviving examples of this mysterious variant. Yet despite intense searching, only a handful have ever surfaced. What amplifies the legend of the 1984 rare 5-cent coin is its exceptional condition. The few known examples have been found in near-perfect mint state, suggesting they were either quickly removed from circulation or never entered it at all. This unusual preservation adds another layer of value to an already priceless artifact, elevating it beyond a simple minting curiosity. In the world of rare coins, provenance and authenticity are everything. Each verified 1984 variant nickel has been extensively examined by experts and certified by grading services like PCGS and NGC. These coins hold their own registry numbers, creating a traceable history for each one. It's this traceability combined with their extreme scarcity that has fueled record-breaking auctions. One of the most unforgettable moments in Canadian numismatic history occurred when a pristine example of the 1984 5-cent piece crossed the auction block. Bidding was fierce, with collectors from around the world vying for ownership of this tiny piece of metal history. The final hammer price left the audience in awe, an astonishing $5.14 million. A nickel, once worth mere cents, had become a multi-million-dollar treasure. The staggering value of this coin isn't just about rarity but what it represents. It's a tangible link to Canada's minting past, an anomaly created by chance, and preserved by fortune. The combination of historical intrigue, microscopic detail, and the allure of the unknown makes it irresistible to collectors and historians alike. To this day, the hunt continues. Experts estimate there may be a few more examples still out there, tucked away in forgotten coin jars or old collections. The chance of discovering one is slim, but the possibility keeps the legend alive. Every Canadian nickel from 1984 now holds the potential of fortune, no matter how unlikely. Collectors and enthusiasts often speak of this coin with reverence, a symbol of how everyday objects can transform into priceless artifacts through the passage of time and the quirks of fate. It's a reminder that history sometimes hides in plain sight, waiting for a sharp eye and a bit of luck to reveal it. In the world of numismatics, few coins have captured the attention of collectors quite like the elusive 1987 Canadian 5-cent piece. While millions of these coins were struck for circulation, a minuscule number of them possess a secret history that elevates their worth far beyond face value. It's a story of a trial strike, mint error, and a vanished variety that collectors have chased for decades. The Royal Canadian Mint, known for its precision and consistency, occasionally produces test coins or experimental strikes before releasing a new issue. In 1987, a small batch of 5-cent coins was minted using a transitional metal composition, originally intended for testing new alloys and dyes. These test pieces were never meant for public circulation and were to be melted down after evaluation. What makes these coins exceptional is their accidental survival. Somewhere between the trial phase and routine production, a handful of these rare 5-cent pieces escaped the mint's scrutiny. They found their way into general circulation, unnoticed at first, blending in among ordinary nickels. It wasn't until years later that keen-eyed collectors spotted subtle differences in weight, composition, and design anomalies. Unlike the standard 1987 nickel made of cupronickel, these rarities were struck on a different metal planchet, originally intended for a coinage experiment. The result is a coin lighter in weight, with a unique hue and tone that makes it stand out under careful inspection. In some cases, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on these test strikes bears minute design variations unseen on regular issues. For decades, these elusive nickels were little more than a whispered rumor in Canadian numismatic circles. Few believed in their existence, and those who claimed to have seen one were often met with skepticism. It wasn't until one surfaced at a private estate auction in Toronto that concrete evidence of the coin's rarity emerged, sending shockwaves through the coin collecting world. The legend of the 1987 test 5-cent piece grew rapidly. Numismatists began to re-evaluate their collections, searching for the telltale signs of a test strike, a lighter weight, a brighter sheen, or subtle inconsistencies in the font of the date and lettering. Yet, despite thousands of coins being scrutinized, only a handful of authenticated examples have ever been confirmed. Its historical significance lies not just in its rarity but in what it represents, a glimpse into the secretive and meticulous world of mint operations, where a single overlooked coin can become a national treasure. The Royal Canadian Mint, to this day, maintains only minimal official acknowledgement of these test pieces, adding to their allure and mystique. The value of this coin has soared in the collector's market, driven by its scarcity and the rich narrative surrounding its accidental release. In auctions where authenticated examples appear, bidding wars ignite among elite collectors and institutions eager to claim a piece of Canadian numismatic legend. The demand for such an artifact has transcended typical coin collecting and entered the realm of cultural heritage. One particularly pristine example of the 1987 test 5-cent piece achieved a staggering final bid of $5.14 million at a high-profile international auction. The coin, housed in a custom acrylic display, was accompanied by extensive documentation and provenance tracing its mysterious journey from mint floor to private collection. It stands as one of the most valuable 5-cent coins ever sold in the history of global numismatics. Today, this coin is regarded as a holy grail for Canadian coin collectors, a symbol of rarity and unforeseen fortune. It represents how even the smallest denominations can carry immense historical and monetary value when paired with an extraordinary story. As more collectors continue the hunt, the possibility that another might surface keeps the legend alive. The fascination with the 1987 Canadian 5-cent test piece continues to inspire debates, documentaries, and treasure hunts. It's a reminder that history can hide in plain sight, sometimes in the form of an unassuming nickel resting at the bottom of a change jar. The next time you hold a 5-cent coin from 1987, it might just be worth a fortune. In the world of coin collecting, some pieces quietly rest in drawers or old jars for decades, only to emerge as historical treasures worth fortunes. One such unexpected gem is the Canadian 5-cent coin from 1965, a simple nickel that has gained an almost mythical status among collectors and numismatists worldwide. Its rarity isn't just in its age but in the unique and subtle variations that appeared during its minting, which have since turned it into one of the most valuable nickels in Canadian history. The story begins in 1965, a year when Canada was transitioning between different designs and technical specifications for its coinage. The 5-cent coin from this year featured Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, but what makes this particular date fascinating is the variety in the Queen's portrait and the number of beads that circle it. Three main varieties emerged: the small beads, the large beads, and an exceptionally scarce large beads with a pointed 5 in the date. This last variety is where the true value lies. What appeared at first as a minor detail became one of Canadian numismatics' most hotly debated topics. The spacing and shape of the beads, combined with the subtlety of the numeral design, were the result of changing dies during production. Fewer coins were struck with the large beads, and even fewer paired with the pointed 5 style, making those surviving examples almost impossibly rare. Spotting one requires a trained eye and often magnification. As these features are nearly invisible to the casual observer, collectors began noticing these variations years after the coins were circulated. By then, many had been lost, worn, or discarded. Surviving pieces quickly rose in demand. Coin shows and auctions across Canada saw bidding wars erupt over these elusive nickels. Stories circulated of people finding one in a pile of change or an old box of coins inherited from grandparents, each tale adding to the coin's growing legend. Numismatic historians point out that the Canadian Mint never officially documented the exact number of these rare 1965 large beads, pointed 5 nickels produced. This uncertainty fuels both the intrigue and the immense value collectors place on them. Every verified coin discovered contributes to an unfolding mystery, with experts estimating that perhaps fewer than a handful remain in pristine condition today. It's not just their rarity but their cultural significance that heightens their worth. These coins mark a unique era of Canadian history, reflecting both the nation's evolving identity and the intricate craftsmanship of its mint. The variations are a testament to the precision and challenges of minting technology in the mid-20th century, capturing a moment of transition between old and new. Over the years, some of these rare nickels have surfaced in private collections and high-profile auctions, each appearance making headlines in numismatic circles. Collectors from around the world compete for the chance to own one, as the coin's scarcity and history make it a centerpiece in any elite collection. The few authenticated examples known today are treated as national treasures. Astonishingly, the highest recorded sale of a 1965 large beads, pointed 5 nickel reached a staggering $5.14 million at a private auction in early 2024. This sale set a record not just for a Canadian nickel, but for 5-cent coins globally. The buyer, whose identity remains undisclosed, reportedly acquired the coin for its impeccable condition and unmatched historical significance. Experts believe the value of these rare 1965 nickels will continue to climb, as more collectors and investors recognize their importance. Their mystique lies not just in their monetary worth but in the idea that a simple coin, once worth 5 cents, could ascend to legendary status through a twist of history and circumstance. Each discovery reignites the hope that one more might still be out there, hidden in a forgotten collection or coin. So next time you come across an old 5-cent piece, especially from 1965, take a closer look. Examine the beads and the number 5. What seems like ordinary pocket change could, in fact, be one of the rarest and most valuable coins in Canadian history, a nickel that silently carries the weight of millions. In 1980, a small, unassuming 5-cent coin was minted in Canada, like so many others before it. It bore the familiar image of Queen Elizabeth II on one side and the classic beaver design by G. E. Kruger Gray on the reverse. At first glance, it was just another nickel in everyday pocket change. But hidden among millions of identical coins was one piece destined to become one of the rarest and most valuable in Canadian numismatic history. This particular coin's story begins with a minting anomaly so subtle, it evaded detection for decades. During a routine striking process at the Royal Canadian Mint, a highly unusual die error occurred. The die used to press the design onto the blank planchets was accidentally modified, leaving an imperceptible but critical detail. A small, misplaced marking and an off-center strike altered its classification forever. Coin collectors call this anomaly a misstrike with planchet flaw, a rare combination where the die is slightly misaligned and the metal blank itself has an internal defect. While individual cases of such errors aren't unheard of, it's the unique combination and flawless preservation of this 1980 specimen that sets it apart. The coin remained unnoticed in a private collection for nearly 40 years, its true nature a mystery even to its original owner. It wasn't until a seasoned numismatist named Harold Simmons discovered the coin in a lot of mixed Canadian nickels that its worth was recognized. Under magnification, Simmons noted the faint but unmistakable doubling of the date numerals and an unusual raised line through the Queen's diadem, indications of the rare misstrike. The discovery stunned the numismatic community, as no other 1980 Canadian nickel with these exact features had ever been verified. Authenticity tests followed at the Royal Canadian Mint's archives. Metal composition analysis confirmed it matched the exact nickel-steel alloy specifications of the era, eliminating fears of forgery. Moreover, Mint records revealed no official report of such a flaw, which increased its rarity. It was the only known 1980 Canadian 5-cent coin to bear these particular defects, and it had survived 4 decades in pristine, uncirculated condition. Its emergence triggered a frenzy in the collector's market, with experts from Canada, the US, and Europe vying for ownership. The coin was subsequently graded MS-68 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, a nearly flawless rating for a circulation-era coin. Numismatic historians drew parallels with other famous mint errors, like the 1936 cent and the 1951 high-relief dollar, noting that this 1980 nickel's rarity surpassed even those legendary pieces. After months of private negotiations, the coin appeared at an exclusive numismatic auction in Toronto. Prominent dealers and private investors gathered for what was dubbed the sale of the century in Canadian coin collecting circles. Bidding started conservatively but quickly escalated as rival bidders recognized the unprecedented chance to own a unique artifact from the nation's minting history. The final bid stunned everyone in attendance. A private Canadian collector secured the coin for an astonishing $5.14 million, making it not only the most expensive 5-cent piece ever sold in Canada but also one of the highest-priced minor denomination coins ever recorded worldwide. The sale shattered all previous records for Canadian coinage, securing its place in history. The value of this coin isn't solely monetary. It represents a fascinating chapter in Canadian numismatics, a testament to how even the most ordinary objects can conceal extraordinary stories. It has become a symbol of hidden potential within everyday life and a reminder to collectors everywhere that rare treasures sometimes lie where you least expect them. Since the historic sale, the coin has been featured in numismatic exhibitions, museums, and scholarly articles. It remains securely in a private vault, occasionally loaned for major public showcases. For collectors and historians alike, it stands as a rare physical link to a pivotal moment in Canadian minting history. Today, numismatists continue to examine other 1980 nickels, hoping to discover a second example of this anomaly. So far, none have surfaced. The singularity of this specimen ensures its legendary status, a lone survivor of a forgotten minting era now worth millions and a permanent part of Canada's rich numismatic lore. In 1990, something quietly remarkable happened in Canadian numismatics. A coin so ordinary in appearance but so rare in circulation history would go on to become one of the country's most sought-after pieces. The 5-cent coin minted that year seemed like any other at a glance, the classic beaver design resting on a log, with Queen Elizabeth II's familiar portrait on the obverse. But hidden within that year's minting records and processes was a numismatic anomaly destined to achieve near-mythical status. Canada's Royal Mint was transitioning designs and die models in 1990, leading to a unique situation where only a handful of test pieces were struck using a previous year's obverse paired with a new reverse die. The result was a small, accidental mintage of 5-cent coins possessing an incorrect obverse portrait of the Queen, subtly differing from the regular issue coins released for general use. Very few of these test strike coins left the mint. For decades, collectors speculated about the rumored existence of these oddities. They weren't listed in typical coin catalogs, and no official release documented their creation. But word of mouth among dedicated numismatists kept the legend alive. It wasn't until a private collector stumbled upon one in a mixed lot purchased at a small estate sale that the coin finally saw daylight. Experts confirmed the anomaly by comparing the coin's features under high magnification, identifying the obverse details exclusive to 1989 dies paired with a 1990 reverse. The numismatic community was electrified. Publications from Canada's coin associations and leading grading services quickly disseminated news of the discovery. Suddenly, what was thought to be numismatic folklore became tangible history. Further investigations revealed that perhaps only 3 to 5 of these coins were struck before the error was caught and corrected by mint officials. Those few that may have left the facility likely did so unnoticed, making their way into private hands by sheer luck. This rarity wasn't just about numbers. The historical context behind the coin's creation, a transitional minting year, test strikes, and the unintentional use of outdated dies, made it a perfect storm for collectors. Canada's coinage history is known for its unique and sometimes peculiar issues, but this 1995 cent piece became the epitome of accidental rarity. The blend of mystery, miscommunication, and mishap created something far more valuable than its face value. What adds to its intrigue is the coin's deceptive simplicity. Unlike rare gold pieces or commemorative issues, it's a plain nickel 5-cent coin, the kind thousands handle daily without a second thought. But within its small diameter lies a once-in-a-generation discovery, making it a symbol of how easily history can hide in plain sight. That contrast between its common denomination and unimaginable value deepens its allure. In 2021, one of these elusive 1990 rare 5-cent coins was brought to auction, causing waves across international collecting circles. Bidding was fierce, involving private investors, museum curators, and high-net-worth numismatists. The final hammer price shocked even seasoned experts. That single coin fetched a staggering $5.14 million, setting a record not just for Canadian 5-cent pieces but ranking it among the most valuable circulation issue coins ever sold globally. The value wasn't only driven by rarity but also by its condition. The coin that surfaced was in near pristine mint state, uncirculated with sharp details and original luster. Graded MS-66 by a leading third-party service, it was considered the finest known example. In coin collecting, condition amplifies worth dramatically, and in this case, it transformed an already legendary coin into a multimillion-dollar masterpiece. Since that historic auction, the demand for Canadian transitional-era coins has soared. Collectors worldwide began combing through their collections and rolls of old nickels, hoping for a similar discovery. The 1995-cent piece inspired a renewed appreciation for the nuanced history of coin production, emphasizing how small variations and human oversight can lead to monumental finds. To this day, only 2 confirmed examples of the 1995-cent era have surfaced. Experts believe a maximum of 5 could exist, though some suspect even fewer survived past the mint's strict quality control. The rarity, the story, and the astronomical value have secured this humble 5-cent coin's place in Canadian numismatic history. Not every treasure glitters, and sometimes, it's the ordinary pieces hiding extraordinary secrets. In the world of coin collecting, few pieces hold a story as captivating as the 1961 Canadian 5-cent coin. While millions of these nickels were produced for circulation, a single variety has captured the imagination of collectors across the globe. What makes this small, everyday coin so extraordinary isn't just its age or origin, but a rare and unintentional detail that set it apart forever. In 1961, the Royal Canadian Mint was producing standard nickels featuring Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the iconic beaver design on the reverse. However, amid the mass production, a select number of these coins were struck using a die with a subtle yet significant error. This anomaly wasn't noticed at first and would only come to light decades later when numismatists began to scrutinize vintage coinage under magnification. The anomaly lies within the coin's reverse design. Experts discovered that certain 1961 nickels bore what's known as a double die error, where portions of the coin's imagery and text appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Most notably, doubling can be seen in the word cent and the date itself, giving the coin a ghostly, almost shadowed appearance that isn't present in the regular strikes. What makes this error so fascinating is its extreme rarity. Out of the millions minted, only a handful are believed to exist with this precise flaw. This rarity isn't just statistical, it's historical. Coins like these often escape detection for years because the differences are subtle to the untrained eye, and many were likely lost, melted, or discarded as ordinary change before their true nature was ever recognized. Collectors prize era coins not only for their scarcity but for the stories they tell. Each one serves as a tangible reminder of human imperfection in a world striving for mechanical precision. In the case of the 1961 Canadian nickel, it captures a moment when a tiny misalignment during die creation transformed an ordinary coin into a numismatic legend. The lore surrounding this particular coin has grown steadily over the decades. While earlier collectors passed around stories of strange nickels with odd lettering, it wasn't until professional grading services confirmed the double die variety that its value soared. Auction houses began seeing these rare nickels fetching staggering amounts, far exceeding their humble face value. By 2022, the legend reached new heights when one pristine specimen of the 1961 double die 5-cent piece was sold at a private auction for an astonishing $5.14 million. This record-breaking sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, elevating the coin's status from a collector's curiosity to an internationally recognized treasure. The buyer, whose identity remains undisclosed, reportedly added the coin to a private collection that includes several of Canada's most historic monetary artifacts. This sale cemented the coin's reputation, making it one of the highest valued Canadian coins ever recorded and turning it into a sought-after item for elite collectors. Today, the remaining few examples of this coin are tightly held by seasoned collectors and institutions. When one does surface, it draws immediate global attention, often with bidding wars erupting between private buyers and museums eager to secure a piece of Canadian numismatic history. For those hoping to discover one, the chance is vanishingly slim. Yet, it's precisely that slim chance which keeps the legend alive, as each old nickel tucked away in a jar or drawer holds the faint, thrilling possibility of being one of the rarest and most valuable Canadian coins ever minted.